Louisville's schedule is tough to predict because this is a very high floor team. They went 10-2 in the regular season last year, lost the conference title game, lost their bowl game to USC, and I expect them to be a good team this year. I think they've upgraded at quarterback, not to an elite guy in Tyler Shuck, but if you ask me to choose between Tyler Shuck and Jack Plummer, I'm taking Shuck, and I think the numbers really bear that out. So they've upgraded at quarterback. I love their coach. I am in love with their transfer portal class as well, one of the top 15 in the country this year. That's right, Louisville have accomplished that feat. But as far as ACC schedules go, it doesn't get much tougher because they play Notre Dame as a non-conference opponent. They also have SMU. They've also got Miami on there, and they have Clemson on there. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, and then the last week of the season, in another non-conference battle, they've got to play Kentucky. This is a sneaky hard schedule, and I reserve the right on all schedule predictions to have one game as a toss-up that I just can't get a gut instinct on right now. And I do have one of those games on this Louisville schedule. We'll get to that. But they will start out with 3 consecutive wins. All at home, Austin Peay, Jacksonville State, easy wins. Georgia Tech won't be easy. Louisville will get it done. If that game were being played in Atlanta, I might ask a couple more questions, but it's not. So I think Louisville is going to be just fine there. But then for their 4th game of the year, they have to go at Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's a really good team. I think Louisville is a good team, but do I think Louisville is good enough to go on the road into South Bend and knock off the Irish? No, I do not. I like Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman, so I go with Notre Dame there, and that puts the Cardinals at 3-1. Then they come back home, they play SMU. See how I paused there? Like Georgia Tech, that is a team that is not to be trifled with. They have been acquiring talent at a high level. They've got a good head coach in Rhett Lashley. They've got a good and capable quarterback who, if healthy, Preston Stone, could be one of the 4 or 5 best signal callers in the conference this year. And yeah, SMU being an ACC team is weird, but everybody's got to deal with them now. They're at least, in my view, making a bowl game. Are they winning 8, 9, or 10 games? Got to see them play ACC opponents and Power 4 teams consistently throughout the year before I make that distinction. But boy, I don't think they're going to have a massive roster deficiency the way that Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, and BYU did going into the Big 12. SMU is not like that. So one thing that comes up with SMU a lot is how big is their fan support? How many people show up to their games? I think that's going to go up in the ACC. And if they get a marquee win, like at Louisville, for instance, I think you'll see fans starting to buy into the Mustangs there. But at home, I like Louisville. I like Louisville. I like them the next week as well. When they go on the road, they take on Virginia. I don't think Virginia is going to be a particularly strong team next year. But here's where things start to get really, really dicey and where I struggle seeing Louisville getting into the ACC championship game. It is going to be exceedingly difficult. I definitely don't think they're a playoff team unless they make the title game and ultimately win it. But even if they get there, they'll have to win it to get in because they will be a multi-loss team. The schedule just doesn't line up particularly well. So after they play Virginia on the road, they come back home, they play Miami. See how I'm pausing again? This time, I'm going the distance. I think Miami is going to go into Louisville and win that football game. I like Cam Ward, preseason ACC Player of the Year, deservedly so. He and Damian Martinez have got a stout rushing attack behind a real good third-year Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal offensive line. I like the weapons they've got. There is some pressure in Coral Gables that doesn't necessarily exist for Jeff Brohm's program, but Miami's roster, I think, edges out Louisville's here. And Cam Ward makes a play to win that football game. You give me a head coach in Jeff Brohm that I really like at home, typically, I'm not going to pick against guys like that very often. But Cam Ward over Tyler Shuck, absolutely, I am on board with that. So I think Miami goes in and gives Louisville their 2nd loss of the season. They go on the road next. They play Boston College. Look, crazy things can happen. Florida State almost lost with Jordan Travis to Boston College on the road last year. They got a new head coach. They've got a returning quarterback in Thomas Castellanos, who's fine. He's fine. He's capable. I think Louisville gets a bounce back there. But then the following week, they have to go at Clemson. I mean, goodness gracious. Who put together this schedule for Louisville. Jeff Brohm has got to be looking around and going, wait, guys, what are we doing here? How in the world are we playing this many tough road games? How are we playing 3 consecutive road games in such a crucial juncture of the season at Boston College, at Clemson, and then you get a bye before you go on the road and play Stanford, admittedly, but I just, boy, that stretch is not great. That's a long time to go without playing in front of your home fans. And they have a better roster than Stanford, so I think they go to Palo Alto and win that game, even though it's a long, long road trip and weird things happen at the farm. I'm just warning you, ACC fans out there. I'm just warning you. Weird things happen at Palo Alto. Always have. I don't know why that would change just because they have changed conferences. So just be wary. 3 consecutive games, that's a lot. I think they win 2 of them because you're playing Boston College and Stanford. They come back home the next week against Pitt. I don't have that high hopes for Pitt this year. Louisville, I think, gets that win. Then we get to the last game of the season. And this is where I'm at a toss-up. I'm using a toss-up here. I can only do this once per team, per 12-game prediction. But I'm landing on Louisville at 9-3 or 8-4. Depending on what happens in this Kentucky game. I think that defines whether they could be a 2-loss ACC team, because remember, Notre Dame is not in the ACC, so they could have just 2 ACC losses and get to the conference championship game for the second straight year. That's entirely possible. I think this is a very high floor team. I don't think they can win fewer than 7 games. I don't think they can win more than 9. The schedule just lines up having to go at Notre Dame and at Clemson. Yikes. And you've got to play Miami. Thank goodness they missed NC State and Virginia Tech on here, or else they should call the ACC front office and say, are you trying to screw us this year? And if so, good job. But that Kentucky game, I think, is a toss-up. Is Kentucky a great team? I don't know. That depends on what Brock Vandegrift is this year. But remember that Kentucky won this rivalry matchup a year ago, and Louisville had him at home. Now, my initial reaction was, well, maybe they go on the road, they get revenge from what happened a season ago. But it's a fool's errand to think that Mark Stoops can't win a game that on paper maybe you think he should lose. And Kentucky, they're not a bad team. They're solid. They're solid. They're not great. I don't have 9-10 win hopes for Kentucky this year, but are they a 6-8 win team? Yeah, they are. Rivalry matchup last week of the year on the road. I think that's an absolute toss-up. So I've got 8-4 or 9-3 for Louisville here. If you want me to do a game-by-game breakdown of your team, let me know in the comments or shoot me a note on Twitter. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.